Yeah, absolutely. That's great advice. So, what I understood is that you recommend to do a sprint zero and kind of observe, right, how the team handles the scrum within the team, and then maybe do some shadowing, kind of communicate with other scrum masters and maybe see how they work.
Now,
But it's definitely, yeah.
and here's the deal. Let me just rephrase that because that's not exactly what I said, and I want to make sure you're real clear on it, okay? I don't want you to
Hmm.
sit back. By no stretch of the imagination do I want you to sit back. I don't want you to sit back and just observe. I want you to take action. And when I say
Hmm.
observe, observe, yes. Make sure you observe, make sure you get to know people. But the problem is if you don't reach out, they probably ain't going to reach out to you. So I want you to take initiative. I want you in this very beginning to take that initiative to kind of make sure you're getting to know them as much as you can. So,
Hmm.
you take COVID, for example. A lot of people are having problems with starting new gigs with it being COVID. But that's not an excuse because if I'm starting a new gig, the moment they give me whatever communication tool we're using, like for example, if we're in a Slack or Teams in terms of Microsoft, then I know when people pop up online. I can see them when they're online. I literally can see them when they're online. And guess what I'm gonna be doing while they're when they pop up? Hey, how you doing?
Talk to
How's
them,
your day
yeah.
going? Right? Because I am getting to know them, and I do want to get to know them in a non-formal, well, in a formal yet a non-formal way. You're at work, so there's a formality to it, but in as a non-formal way as I can. But that is going to be me reaching out. That is going to be
Hmm.
me diving into them and pouring into them, if that makes sense. So I'm not
Hmm.
telling you to sit back at all. Please don't sit back. This is the way you begin is going to shape everything else moving forward. If you
Hmm.
actually go in there and you sit back as a scrum master and you're not addressing things as a scrum master, they're going to think that's the way you're going to be the rest of the time.
Mm.
Now, I am not saying this though. I am not saying go in there with a hammer like this
Yeah,
is the way
that's
we do
that's what
scrum.
I'm trying to avoid. I don't want to be too forceful or conflicting and kind of come with my vision of what Scrum is when they already have established their ways of doing things. So
But
that's the
but
problem.
but here's how you work with that. You can actually just have a training session. You can actually just
Hmm.
have a session where you say, let's talk about Scrum, people. Let's talk about Scrum.
Hmm.
Let's talk about what you do here, right? I remember when I worked at Motorola, had some people that I hadn't worked with before, and I had teams that I had never worked with before. You know, I'm real good at going in and saying, look, hey y'all, I'm the newbie here. You know, teach me what y'all know. Teach me Scrum. Can one of y'all teach me Scrum and what y'all are doing here so I understand? And somebody is going to volunteer and be like, yeah, this is what we're doing. This, and we're doing this way. Yeah, we do that. Yeah, we do this. Yeah, we do that. And they're going to explain all these things to you, right? But that will give you an idea of
Hmm.
what is happening on the ground with them right now. If you have things like that happening with them on the ground right now, and they're saying, you know what? Hey, we really don't have daily scrums. There could be a reason why. Now I know in my heart they should be, right? I know I'm saying to myself, they should. The manifesto says that there should, right? But the question is, what's the reason behind why they're not?
Mm.
They may not be able to express that to you. They may not be able to. Okay? They may say to you, well, we didn't get any value out of it, right? And now I know I got something I need to dive into and make sure that I investigate now. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
You
totally.
know, they could have daily scrums that's lasting 30 minutes. Okay, no problem. I understand. I get it. Y'all having them for 30 minutes. Do I start one drastically change what they're doing if they already been doing it that way? I don't know. Do you think that's a good idea to do that?
No, not at the beginning.
Still
Definitely
there?
not.
So hopefully y'all can still hear me. But if it's me and I'm walking into a team that's doing daily scrums that's taking 30 minutes, I know it's not right. I know that they probably don't want to do that. Now my question becomes, why are they? Why are they doing it that way? Is there something that I'm missing? It could be that there's management that's in the meetings. It could be that they are solving all kinds of problems in the meeting, and that's the way they're getting value out of it, right? It could be that somebody's in there reporting, right? It could be something absolutely normal in terms of how they evolve things. And do I want to stop it? What's the reasons and logics behind what they're doing? Not necessarily. I can't say that's what I would want to do. But I would want to see what's happening. I would say to him, look, daily scrum's only supposed to be 15 minutes, but you know what, though? I'm not sure what you all are doing, but I would like to see what you're doing. I would like to observe what you're doing and see what's really going on so I can get an idea of why they're doing it. Because a lot of times, what am I looking for? I am looking for the why, the why, the why, the why.
The root
In
cause.
lean, we have this concept called the five whys. And you don't normally have to get to the fifth why in order to get to the root cause of why it's happening, right? But I'm trying to understand the logic behind what they're doing and the underpinnings, the reason why they're doing whatever it is that they're doing. So it is super important for me to understand. But how do I get that understanding if I come in like a bull in a china shop? And you know what I mean. You got all these delicate, pieces of glass, and some bull walks in there and knocks everything down. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that scrum master. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be any of that. I want to be the one that gets an understanding, see why you're doing it. And here's the thing that I always have to remember: I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. Okay. The reason why I say that to you is because of this. Back in the day, Scrum used to have a artifact called the burn chart. And that artifact was, the statement is you do everything that's in the Scrum. If you're not, you're doing Scrum but, right? That's the statement. So we're always trying to get everything done in Scrum. And time again, I would have these teams that would not get any value whatsoever ever out of the actual daily Scrum. Not the daily Scrum, but the actual burn chart.
Mhm.
And so I started feeling guilty about it because I would make teams do it. I'd be like, it's what we do in Scrum. We're going to do it. And then it's not getting updated. They're not using it for anything. It's not being helpful whatsoever. And, I'm in, but, I got this debate in my mind like, I'm the Scrum Master. We should be doing all of what Scrum says to do. And we are, but they don't get any value out of this particular thing. Hmm. Does that justify me doing Scrum But? Hmm. Well, for me, it does. For me, it does. Because I have to tap into my lean side and say to myself, look, if there's no pull for it, why push it on them? If they're not going to go grab it and get value out of it for themselves, why would I just dictate it and put it on them? Why would I make them do it if they're not getting any value out of it? So this is super important. This is part of that learning process where you kind of go through what we call shuhari. You kind of start off as a beginner. You start off with you get all the formal basic stuff. You make sure you're doing exactly what the book says, right? But then at some point you're gonna move through and get all the way to the point where you turn it into your own thing, right?
Mhm.
And you want to get to that place where you ultimately turn it into your own thing. But in the beginning, unfortunately, you're just waxing on and waxing off, and you're trying to get the patterns down, everything down, because you're new to it. And that's good. You will learn along the way. But what I don't want you to do is put yourself in a position where that team hates you. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
that's true. Absolutely.
I still see
Thank you
you
so
here, so
much.
can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, totally. It's great advice.
I can't
I
hear you,
think
but that's okay. I'm gonna continue.
I will get the
But the
Scrum
idea
Master.
is the same. So there's a lot of things to do when you begin. And I mentioned quite a few things because I had few people, many people in the comments for the past shows. They were asking and saying, I would like to hear more about Scrum pilots. I'd like to hear more about this. And I'm going through extra explanation to make sure that you have an understanding of this and what's happening, right? Um, when you go in there and you are a tyrant, they will reject you.